This story is a little more polite. It's set in Los Angeles in recent time, and it's called Freelancer. And it also involves some engineering, so I thought that would be appropriate to read it here. Okay. Sometimes you catch a break, and sometimes your luck takes a turn, and you catch 3 or 4. A year and a half ago, I was ready to settle in behind a few square yards of polished walnut, flick memos at other people's problems, and court out-of-town clients over lobster and sirloin. Maybe even commandeer some A-space on the 29th floor and look out toward the Pacific rather than at a parking garage, a cheapo Chinese place called Hot Wok, and a steady line of cars waiting to get on the Harbor Freeway. It never happened. When I missed the bonus trip to Cabo by 120K's worth of second quarter sales, the suits sat up and took notice. They took a quick meeting, checked the numbers, and concluded that the best action all around would be for them to have a nice lunch and me to have 2 months' pay and 2 weeks' notice. The competition started to make some half-hearted overtures, but I knew they'd take whatever I knew, wring whatever they could out of it, and then cut me loose without a single twinge or a moment's hesitation. I put them on hold as a fallback, told them I was taking some time to explore other opportunities, and lined up a piecework job in the Valley installing computer equipment for small businesses. It was strictly autopilot stuff. Open the box, put the manuals on a vacant shelf, plug in the cords, pop in the disks, and set up the unit. I knew the real money would come from some freelancing on the side, and I figured it wouldn't take any major brain power. All you need to do is smile a little, act polite, help when you can, drop a few words, and show a few keystrokes. By the second day, you're the resident guru. By the third, you're a consultant. I still can't believe how easy it was. I go into an office with a spreadsheet package or a box of toner cartridges or connector cables, wait till the head turned, hit a key or two, turn a screen into screaming chaos, and then piously volunteer to help. By the end of the next afternoon, I drummed up some additional business, helped myself to some spare disks from an open desk drawer, and stripped whatever software I could use from the company's system. The next week, I was installing free product at just below market rates to my next customer. My mother always told me to buy low and sell high. But that was only part of the game. The real fun came after I polished the act and started to get into the rhythm of it. I start with a little drama. Sit down uneasily, lean in, click the mouse, and stare at the blue genie. I'd freeze my expression in a mask of deadly serious deep concentration, and then I'd start to listen. Amazing what I learned. At the auto photo at the top of the Glen, the junior desk clerk is dating the senior image processor. By mid-afternoon, they're usually ready for a trip to the plywood portrait studio in the back of the store. They settle in on the shag-upholstered platform in front of the Waikiki sunset and make like they're in paradise. Over at Mr. Security, a credit checker on the north end of the boulevard, half the employees are checking on their relatives and boyfriends rather than on their clients' customers. Look at this, a woman named Myrna keeps saying. He still owes money on the truck and the van, and now he's trying to buy a Viper from some guy in El Monte. No wonder he never takes me anywhere but the discount matinee in the North Hollywood Big Boy. Lesson 1. Most of the people riding a desk are spending their days bitching to friends, gossiping with their coworkers, thinking about lunch, or calling somebody to help them figure out why their computers won't work. Lesson 2. If you pay a little attention and figure out how to bleed the system, you'll never need to look for the off-ramp to Easy Street. You're already there. I file away every word, not knowing when I might need it. In the meantime, I troll for more easy business. Yesterday morning, I hit the mother lode. I set up a network of Macs for a guy named Al Green, a Toyota dealer over on Moore Park. First, we agreed on a preliminary price. It came out to about $2.20 an hour. I told him I'd get the system up and running, come back the next day, make sure everything's still copacetic, then check back from time to time, even give him a discount on the service calls. When I came in this morning, he took me aside to show me his new pride and joy. It was sitting on a table next to his desk, a powerhouse with more RAM than a New Zealand sheep ranch and 4 gazillion gigs worth of memory. His 12-year-old recommended it. He went for the top of the line to impress the kid, and now he wants to know how to turn it on. I load him up with a set of spreadsheets on permanent loan from Mr. Security and some clip art I lifted from Design a Mug and Ready Print. I show him how to print up some handmade letterhead. I throw in some games to amuse the kid on the days when Al has to play daddy, and I show him how to play a couple of them. Then I ask him if he'd like to record his own alert sound, maybe put in something the kid would like, only I don't call him the kid. He rehearses a few samples and settles on the long duh that the kid gives him whenever the old man boofs. Then we record. I hit the sample box. He hears his own voice, and he lights up like a coconut head in a loincloth who's never seen himself on a Polaroid. Here, I tell him, go to the end of that line of text and start hitting the space bar. Duh, 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 the computer responds, and he can't get enough of it. He offers to buy me lunch, and I tell him thanks, but I've got too much work to do. A couple hours later, I'm sitting at his computer table with the screen turned away from the showroom door. I'm drinking somebody else's Pepsi from the office refrigerator and playing Spin Doctor. Suddenly she walks past the open door, very tall and very soft, with green eyes, chestnut brown hair, 4-inch heels, legs from here to San Bernardino, and a short skirt which swings back and forth when she walks as if it knows that it's waving to a man in serious need. She looks at me for a second and I lower my eyes. Her suit jacket is all business, but so are her hips, and her chest is pushing her jacket buttons so hard that they're practically parallel to the showroom floor. I shut down the computer game, put the Pepsi can under some papers in the basket next to the desk, and think about moving in for a closer look. Her desk is the third on the right, toward the front of the showroom, next to the red MR2 with a special spoiler and the black leather seats. You can look right across the top of it and not miss a bit of her. She's going over some forms, filling in boxes. She puts her pencil down, makes a phone call, and turns toward her calculator, punching in a series of numbers. By now I'm standing at the water cooler, sipping a second cup of Lake Arrowhead's best and trying to appear invisible. I put the cup in the basket, take a pen from my pocket, and walk across the showroom to the empty desk on the opposite wall from hers. The pen is my insurance. I'm trying to look like William F. Buckley Jr. making a house call, rather than Leisure Suit Larry leering at the help. I put the pen in my shirt pocket, sit down on the edge of the seat, and turn on the computer. For a moment I catch a glimpse of her. She's still working the phone and the calculator. I'm checking out her posture, admiring how everything turns in just the right direction. I change position, checking connections at the back of the computer, moving to the floor to check the surge protector in the phone line. Each time I move, I catch another angle. She looks better every time. I can see her ankles and calves. Her legs are smooth. She isn't wearing nylons. She's talking more intently now. As she pushes the calculator to the edge of the desk, her hair falls across the side of her face. She slips it back over her left ear with 2 fingertips, and the bright red polish gleams in the midday sun. Suddenly this window shopper comes in, looking for a way to kill some time. He stands next to the MR2, and when I turn again, he's blocking my view. I move to the next desk. It's occupied by a guy in a cheap suit with a Tag Heuer watch. How's your computer working, I ask. Never use it, he answers. I let the accounting types worry about things like that. If I sat here all day playing with toys, I'd never move any product. And pal, I move a lot of product. Try this, how about 27 units last month? I smile meekly and start to walk away. He leans toward me as if he's really interested. What are you driving now, he asks. A Rabbit, I answer, plus the van, of course. There's no reason he has to know about the Beamer. A Rabbit, he says, his lips twisting as if he just tasted some bad yogurt. It gets me around, I say, as I smile and start to move on. The next desk is vacant and there's no computer there. I'm 2 desks away from hers. Progress. The next is occupied by a salesman with a mark. He's explaining the true meaning of the numbers on the dealer's sheet, and the sucker is lapping up every word of it. This is our price, this number here, he says, As a consumer, you should know that. I pause for a moment and listen. I love to hear a pro at work. The next desk is occupied by a young guy in a dual-breast beige linen suit. He's wearing a white t-shirt and chunky gold ring, trying to look like Mr. Hollywood. He blows it by saying swell and playing with a quarter while he talks. He probably calls it his lucky piece. I don't want to hear its complete history, so I look knowingly at his computer screen, give him a wide berth and a thin smile, and move on. In the few moments before I get to her desk, I try to hear part of her conversation. She says, sure. Then she says, no problem. But she says it like she's agreeing to something interesting, not routine office stuff, maybe something involving cool drinks and soft lights. By now, she's off the phone and looking over some more forms. I check some wall ports, look at the connection behind her machine, give her my meekest smile, and in a quiet voice ask, how's your computer working? Is there anything I can help you with? It's great, she answers. Her eyes are as deep as mountain pools in the late afternoon, and I want to stare forever, but I don't. Then she gives me a smile and says it was nice of me to ask. She's still using the soft lights voice. I tell her that it's my job to help and that she should give me a call whenever she needs anything. I say it in a business-like tone, but I add some soft edges. Nothing threatening, but maybe just a slight invitation, opening the door wide enough to let in a little light. There is one thing, she answers. So there really is a God. I try not to jump too fast. Sure, how can I help? Well, she says, it's probably not complicated at all for somebody like you, but it's giving me fits. I lean down, look at her screen as if I'm checking for symptoms, and catch the smell of her hair. She lets me come in close for a second, but then stops, checks her watch, makes a frustration sound with her lips and the tip of her tongue, and tells me she's sorry for wasting my time. I've got to go out on the lot for a while, she says, and then I've got to drop off some of these forms and meet with some people in Thousand Oaks. I'm not going to be back until around 8 o'clock. I should still be here then, I answer. Otherwise, I can check it out tomorrow. I feel a little jolt of pride. I'm telling her that I'm available, but not over-anxious. This is all strictly business. I'm a nice guy, helpful, decent, not some drooler who's planning to cozy up to her in a dark showroom after everyone else has packed it in and left. When the clear glass door closes behind her, her hair is swinging from side to side in parallel with her hips. The back of her looks a whole lot better than the rear of the used Corolla wagon that eventually blocks my view. Instantly bored, I check the refrigerator, but there's no more Pepsi. I think about springing for some from the machine in the service department waiting room, but finally go for some free fresh coffee from the sales staff's kitchenette. Since I'm planning a little overtime, I help myself to a second cup of coffee and recalculate Al's bill. Then I return to her desk and try to find some note or form that lists her name. I figure someone is watching, so I rest my right hand on the keyboard of her computer and stare thoughtfully. Yes, the doctor is in. Meanwhile, I slide open her center drawer slowly with my left hand and cast my eyes down every few seconds to see what I can see. Maybe I'll get lucky, I think. Maybe find something personal. I check the contents of the metal dividers in the front tray, but the most promising discoveries are a packet of matches from a Swiss restaurant on Robertson called Kalamata and the business card of a couch salesman from Leather Life. Just behind them are a couple of paper clips, the plastic triangular type, and a rusty staple remover whose points are covered with something that looks like old pocket lint. When the guy with the bad suit and the good watch comes by, I ease the drawer closed. He looks down at me and forces a smile. Rabbit, huh? I thought computer jocks made big bucks. I figured you for a Supra or something with a little more jazz. I couldn't afford a Supra, I say meekly, but it's a very nice car, maybe someday. Whenever you're ready, he says, give me a jingle. I could even run some numbers now if you'd like me to. Thanks, I answered, but not now. He gives me a little two-fingered salute, checks his watch, and strolls across the showroom floor, whispering promises in the browser's ears and offering his business card to whoever will take it.